Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron and Mase has struck gold again. You know, it is what it is. This show is going to a new height. They have got the man from Hollis, Queens himself, the legendary Stephen A. Smith. Now, I don't care what you want to say about him. He's this, he's that, what he said. You cannot samaj, you know, legendary status. You understand? You cannot, try to act like he's not a legend in this field, because he is. And now you got Cameron and Mase, coming into this lane of sports media, and things of that nature. And now I believe that this is just the start of something big. We seen them with Lenny Cook. I mean, it seemed like the interviews are going higher and higher. They obviously got backing from the great Isaiah Thomas, the legend. And I'm talking about Detroit Pistons, Isaiah. You seen them at the playoff game for the Phoenix Suns. They was out in Phoenix, Arizona. And like I said, they connecting with all NBA partners. They are getting acknowledged by the NBA and really put out there how they supposed to. I like how when the NBA, they really got behind them because the players are behind them, and what I want to talk about with Stephen A. Smith is, believe it or not, I've been very impressed with Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen, you got to understand, I know that Stephen A. has done some things, said some things in the past. This man is on the national network at ESPN. Unfortunately, he can't just jump out the window like we want him to. Make sure you subscribe to Flight Sports, because we're gonna be documenting this whole situation. Because they're gonna roll out parts. I'm gonna be touching bases and speaking on. Stephen A. gonna deliver some real bulletin board material up there. They're gonna get into Shannon and Skip and all that. So it's so much that can go down that it's just not even funny, man. I just got to keep it all the way 100 with you. So back to Stephen A. Smith, you got to keep it 100. If you ain't been watching, because Stephen A. is much more entertaining on his own show, and I'm going to tell you how this all ties in. You don't think Cam and Mase is up there rubbing off on him and telling him things, or, yo, you could do this, you could do that, you Stephen A. Smith. I'm telling you, this Cam and Mase, Cam got the Harlem thing down pat. He is Harlem. You got Stephen A. repping Queens. This is just a New York, this had to happen. New York is sticking with New York. You know that. You understand? Also, like I stated, Stephen A. has been speaking up a lot more on YouTube when he's on his own podcast, opposed to when you seeing him on ESPN First Take and this, that, and the third, where he really got to, play by the rules. He can't just come out and just say and do anything that people would like just for, everybody to love him and this, that, and the third. But now you starting to see him doing what basically these guys did in terms of, let me tell you something about it is what it is with, with Cam. That's his show. He funded it with his money, his everything, independent. You understand? And then you're gonna see networks and people want to pick this up and get involved. And Stephen A. is basically doing the same thing. I watched Stephen A. Smith's YouTube channel. I remember when it first started, he was a little behind everybody else, like the Sharps, I believe the Wileys of the world, obviously Skip Bayless. These guys were already established on YouTube, you understand? Now Stephen A. came to YouTube at a much more, frequent rate. Maybe he was dibbling and dabbling, but no, he is literally established with his lane here on YouTube. He's got a platform, you understand? And you've seen it go from No Mercy to basically with the Stephen A. Smith show. So, very spectacular, to say the least, in my humble opinion. So, I think we're going to see a new Stephen A. that I think people are going to gravitate to, that they're going to like and appreciate, because we got all sometimes tired of Stephen A. Smith on the shows. I think there's time for them to refresh themselves. You can't just be on national television talking like a robot and always being the company man. And seriously, you got to shake it up a little bit. And it's to see Stephen A. in another element, doing different things, just looking like he's stepping out of his shell a little bit, to where he's much more comfortable, and that's what I like the most from Stephen A. Smith. He's much more comfortable now. He don't have to worry about the network. You think when when Cam and Mase is on there, they worried about some network or worried about some higher up? You know, when it's Cameron's show, and he'll tell you that off rip. You know, and you got to give credit to these Harlem legends because number one, you have Cam and Mase. They had issues in the past. They let all of that go, and now they've come to deliver the people. Just arguably it's gonna rival sports shows. Like, let me tell you something. They coming on slow, but now they bringing on the high-powered guest. You seen Lenny Cook. Now it don't get no bigger than Stephen A. And this is big for New York City. You understand? I'm going to let people know that. And make sure you subscribe. Like I said, listen, that Harlem and Queens connection is real. Shout out Harlem and shout out Queens. Queens get the money. You already know what it is. Salute to everybody repping New York City. Salute to everybody from New York City. You know, salute to everybody that's rocking with this show. You know, it is what it is. Salute to everybody that's a Cameron fan. Salute to everybody that's rocking with Mase. Let me know what was your most entertaining episode. What do you like most from what Cam and Mase is doing? You know, what I like most is they changing the game. You know, they proving that it's no like, you don't have to go in the rate that everybody else is going in. You understand? When you know, you could carve out your own niche. You can be you. You know, Cam and Mase is being them on that show. They cursing, and you know, they not just cursing just because they got the free will. No, this is natural politicking. Like how you would in the barbershop. You think in the barbershop, people with their hands folded, a cup of coffee and the iPad, and nah. You know, people are just going off the top with passion, you know, and that's what they're doing, you know, and I love it. And what I love with Cam is his versatility. You know, Cameron's versatility is immense. I mean, he's an actor. You know, at times this man could be a comedian. Obviously, one of the greatest rappers, you know, and I think arguably underrated. You know, I'm telling you, you can't line up a lot of these rappers and, you know, and say they pound for pound better than Cameron. And also, do your homework. Some of these legends will tell you, you know, they gonna bow down and pay homage to Cam. So do your homework, man. Salute to everybody that know what I'm talking about, too, man. Cam is just a straight-up hip-hop legend. That's definitely one of my favorite rappers of all time. Mase, I mean, what more can I say? Mase is doing his thing. He fits this role. They both are great in their role. But Mase, I mean, I'm telling you, this is like, Cam kind of was still kind of doing his thing a little bit. Mase, I thought, was kind of getting lost in the shuffle, but I feel like Mase finally is back with a real situation where people are gonna love him. I think these people, these two, they better make sure they stick together. You know, we see all the partnerships and the co-hosts, they breaking up. You know, it hurts the audience when things like this happen. Cameron and Mase, man, they got Stephen A. Smith, man. Harlem, the Hollis Queens, pay the utmost homage. You already know, Long Island, we in here, man. We're going to pay homage, man. It's Flight Sports.